Hi everyone. In today's video, light versus heavyweight. Which should you choose if you want to build the most amount of muscle? I'm going over a video done by the channel Gravity Transformation, and we're going to discuss whether you should use heavy weights, moderately heavy weights, or light weights, and what is most effective from a science perspective.
Some believe that high reps and bodyweight calisthenic type exercises are best. Meanwhile, others swear that low rep heavy weight training is better for faster muscle growth.
I don't think that's true. I don't believe that many people believe that calisthenics are better to build muscle. Otherwise, the gym should be empty, and everybody would be outside doing calisthenics or body weight training.
We first have to be clear on what training intensity is. In exercise science, training intensity refers to the percentage of your 1 rep maximum that you can train with.
So the first thing we need to understand is what percent of your 1 rep max you should be using. This is a good concept and perfect to design your training program. Although, it misses a little detail. We're all different. Some people are better anaerobic lactic, others anaerobic lactic, and some others have better aerobic energy systems. Therefore, depending on whether you have more fast or slow twitch muscle fibers and how you can produce energy, that will dictate your optimal rep range and how many reps you can get with a certain percentage of your 1 rep max. So you can clearly see, the rep range can be affected by the type of exercise you're performing and also from the individual.
It's pretty obvious that if you train with less weight, you'll be able to do more reps. But if you train with heavier weights, you'll only be able to perform fewer reps.
Obviously, the closer to your 1 rep max, the less reps you can get, and the lighter the weight, the more reps.
First, the high rep crowd claims that light weights and high reps are better because they create a lot of metabolic stress, which is a physiological process that happens during resistance training.
What about light weights? We're talking 15 to 25 reps. Well, the argument is that it's going to create a lot of metabolic stress. Absolutely true. And this is one of the things you need to do to make your muscle grow. You need to use time under tension while performing the exercise to get the intensity required to stimulate muscle growth.
But there's nothing magical about it. For example, several studies found that you can build the same amount of muscle with low, moderate, and high reps.
The truth is you can actually build the same amount of muscle with light, moderate, or heavy weights. It actually doesn't matter. What does matter is that you train hard enough, going nearly failure or actually reaching it on some working sets. The problem is, when people train with lighter weights, 15 to 25 reps or even higher, hardly any can push themselves set after set to that much cumulative fatigue. It's easier to lift heavy weights for fewer reps than it is to lift lighter weights for higher reps. The overall increased tonnage, or pounds overall lifted when lifting lighter weights for more reps, is going to be significantly higher than lifting a heavy weight for fewer reps. Therefore, the overall volume workout is going to be higher.
Very high rep sets, where you only use 30% of your 1 rep max, can stimulate as much muscle growth as a traditional bodybuilding rep range, where you use 80% of your 1 rep max.
So whether you're lifting 30% of your 1 rep max or 80% your 1 rep max, you can still build a lot of muscle. The problem is much harder to do so with 30%. Because you have to do several more reps, you're going to have to push your failure, and it's going to take a lot longer to do. So you're also going to be dealing with more lactic acid making want you to give up. Also, mentally is quite taxing because you have to maintain your focus longer. It's not very time efficient if you don't have a lot of time to train.
Training with very heavy loads for low reps happens to be much more stressful on your joints and connective tissues compared to training with a moderate or a high rep range.
This is very important. It's more dangerous to lift really heavy. If you're doing 1, 2, 3 reps, you're going to often be ego lifting and you're putting yourself at risk of injury. Training with really high loads and low reps should be done preferably by people who compete in powerlifting because they need to have a lot of strength. The average lifter is focusing on hypertrophy, which can be equally obtained by using higher reps and lower loads. So, it's a lot safer to lift with light or moderate weights for higher reps than it is to lift in a low rep range. Also, you will definitely have better form, getting enough time under tension, and you will actually build more muscle because you're training better. My opinion, heavy weights, low reps, not ideal for building muscle.
Also, even if you like to train with really heavy weight for a low amount of reps, I wouldn't recommend doing that for isolation exercises like bicep curls because simply it's very difficult to maintain proper form.
Another great point As I said earlier, when you're lifting really heavy for low reps, it's hard to maintain great form.
If you're using about 30% of your 1 rep max, you'll be able to rep anywhere between roughly 25 to 35 reps.
No, this is not correct. With 30% of your 1 rep max, you're going to be able to perform 50 and more reps. That rep range can be achievable by everybody with their 55 to 60% of their 1 rep max. Here's a caption. Will you be able to keep your mind focused for 25 to 35 reps? Well, with 30% of your 1 rep max, if you're stopping between 25 and 35 reps, the answer will be yes. But that in that set you haven't provided enough stimulus to your muscle because you were really far from failure. If you actually looked at the science, I'm sure you would realize that you can lift about double that much weight for the same amount of rep.
Even if you did 50% of your 1 rep max for an exercise like squats and tried to do as many reps as possible, you'd probably be completely wiped out after just 1 set.
But the point remains, even if you use 50% of your 1 rep max and you have to go to failure, you know how hard that is? Just after that 1 set, you will be done and there's no way you're going to do another set. The problem of using high rep set is that you're causing too much stress on the body and you don't get enough stimulus. In fact, actual science says that 30 reps is the max amount of reps you should perform in a set before the fatigue of performing the exercise is going to impair the effectiveness of that set for muscle growth.
Research actually shows that you'll grow more muscle when you train with a variety of rep ranges instead of always trying to hit the same number of reps every set.
This is true. As long as you're going near to failure, you're providing an adequate stimulus to your muscle. Using a rep range can be useful, but more important is also using RPE, or reps in reserve. At the end of a set, you want to have in your tank still 1 or 2 more reps. So, if at the end of a set you feel like you can push more, even though you've reached the rep number, go beyond. Because if you stop earlier, the stimulus to muscle will not be optimal for growth. So focus on training hard.
On top of that, high rep training is also better for training your slow twitch muscle fibers, which are fibers that aren't as strong as fast twitch fibers, but they're more resilient to fatigue.
Obviously, we all have some slow twitch muscle fibers and fast twitch muscle fibers. The slow ones are better at doing exercises for a longer period of time, the others for shorter period of time. And so using different rep ranges allows you to train both type of muscle fibers.
Again, usually higher than 3 reps is best for low rep sets for injury prevention and faster muscle building progress.
My advice to get the best of both worlds: you don't have to go too heavy. It doesn't have to be a 1 to 3 rep set. You can achieve the same goal by using a rep range from 6 to 15 rep range, which is wide enough to hit all the fibers, while allowing you to have proper form and not ego lift. So, you start with a higher load and low reps, and as you start to feel more tired, you may lower the weight and increase the reps, so you can still maintain proper form. If you're an intermediate or advanced lifter, you can hit failure more frequently, or add intensity technique, like using drop sets, partial reps, or rest pause sets. This increases stimulus to the muscle by having more time under tension.
Research shows us that strength development is accompanied with increased muscle activation levels during exercise.
Before focusing on strength, you have to have proper technique. So, it's better to perform a mesocycle of hypertrophy, maybe 4 weeks, using lower loads and higher reps. Once you get comfortable with that movement, you can start a mesocycle focusing on strength, using heavier weight and low reps by using a 4 to 6 rep range. Unless you're a power lifter, there is no need to use a 1 to 3 rep range. You'll still develop strength using that rep range.
Now, from a practical perspective, you probably want to do most sets at a moderate rep range.
As he says, I do 100% agree with this. Most of your sets should be in a moderate rep range, somewhere in the middle, not heavy, not light. That makes the most amount of sense, and so for most people, do your reps in a moderately heavy range.
By using periodization, you could switch up your rep ranges every workout, every week, or every month. Personally, I've seen better results from switching every month.
What he suggests, and this is just what he suggests, is that you should have 3 different rep ranges to training: the first 3 to 5 reps, that focuses on strength; the second, the moderate amount of weight, which you should be at the most often 6 to 8 reps, and the third, the 12 plus range. In my opinion, heavyweight is something between 4 to 6 reps. Moderate is 7 to 14, and light is 15 up to 30. Remember that he said earlier that lightweight is something between 25 to 35 reps, so 12 reps is not that light. To me, 12 reps is still moderate, more on the lighter side of the spectrum. To make really simple and not get caught up with all the numbers, most of your sets should be in that 8 to 12 rep range. If you're a beginner and you don't know how to execute proper form, probably you should do lighter weights than that. But for most people, that range is good to build muscle. But if you on a set you chose a weight that's too heavy and you stop at 5 reps, that's okay. As long as you're training hard with proper form, that set was good to stimulate muscle growth. So, be focused. In fact, most of the people usually underestimate how hard they train. They think they hit failure when it just starts to burn. No, please make a conscious effort to push beyond that, and you'll discover you still can get a few more reps. So train hard and use that 8 to 12 rep range and you'll be fine. If you feel you can complete 12 reps with ease, then it's time to increase the load and start again. That's progressive overload. If you want to know more about diet and nutrition and why 95% of diets fail, check my nutrition book. I'll give you all the info you need to lose weight and keep it off for good. Hope you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share it with your friends. See you on the next one.